The idea behind asking you whether you are already initiated into a mantra or not is so that we can tailor this, so that it doesn't become too technical to be bored. In the Shastra, there is a phrase, Uttama Adhikari. Who is the Adhikari to do Yantra Puja? Who has scriptural injunction, scriptural permission to do Yantra Puja? Let's take the Devi's own word for this. Tantra Marka Purushottamam Dharmini Sakita Yajamanam Japat Dhyana Araganam Nitya Yajanam Adhikaram. Adhikaram is authority given to these people who Tantra Marka Purushottamam. That means he should be a Uttama Purushan, good guy. So that disqualifies all of us, right? Tantra Marka Purushottamam. And then he qualifies it by saying Dharmini Sakita Yajamanam. I love this. Because in traditional India, whether it is from Nepal or whether it is from Nepal to Kanyakumari, 50% of the population is disqualified. They are good only to make prasadam and bear children. They are not allowed to participate in anything. This used to bother me a lot. So one day in Zambia, when we were alone, I asked Guruji, why is this? He said, you are asking me a question. Don't you know that I am also from that group of people? I am also belong to a Smarta Brahmin family. I said, Aiya, that's why I am asking you. And he smiled. And he asked me, Haran, in our temples and in all the other places at home, they prevent the ladies from even chanting the Gayatri Mantra. What are your views on this? My only experience from the time I can recall, my father passed away when I was 12 years old. And maybe my mother thought, poor fellow, at 12 he had lost his father. She poured love. And everything became Amma. Without her, nothing was possible. Until I was 20, 21 years old, I slept next to her. Okay? And my siblings and everybody teased me, saying this, that and the other, told my friends, this fellow is still clutching to him. Who cares? And in Tamil, there is a beautiful sentiment to describe one's mother. Kudi iranda koyil, the house, the temple in which I lived. The temple in which I lived. So I explained this to Guruji because he's not from Tamil Nadu. I told him, Aiya, this statement is there. If a mantra is not good for my mother, just because I was born a male, I don't want to have anything to do with that mantra. If it is not good for my mother, it's not good for me either. He didn't say anything. He stood up and put his arms around me and he said, at last I have met somebody who thinks like me. So Dharmini Sakita Yajamanam, he must be in the company of his wife. Tantramarka Purushottamam. Dharmini Sakita Yajamanam. That's not the only thing that qualifies you. Japam, Dhyanam, Aradhanam, Japam, that means you must, the implied meaning is that you must be initiated into at least some mantra. Right? Japam, otherwise how will you do Japam? Japam, dhyanam, meditation, introspection. Japam, dhyanam, aradhanam. That means some minor ritual has to be done. Aradhanam is puja. Japam, dhyanam, aradhanam. Nityam. That means every day you have to do this. There's another meaning. Japat dhyana aradhanam nitya yajanam adhikaram. Nitya yajanam adhikaram. Nitya means Nitya Kala Devis, the faces of the moon that are in the second layer of 16 petals, or around the last triangle. Kameshwari, Bhagamalini, Nityaklinga, Verunda, Varnivasini, Mahavajreshwari, Sivadodi, Tvarida, Kurasundari, Nitya, Neelabataka, Vijaya, Sarvamangala, Jwala, Malini, Chitra. Nitya Devis, Nityakala Devis should be worshipped every day. Now, who is the fellow who can worship the Nityakala Devis every day? Minimum requirement for doing Sri Yantra Puja is Panchadasakshari. That means he should be initiated into Panchadasakshari and he should be doing Sri Chakra Puja every day. To him, Adhikaram is given. Tantramarka Purushottamam Dharmini Sahida Yajamanam Nitya Yajanam Adhikaram. Japat Dhyana Aradhanam Nitya Yajanam Adhikaram. Yajanam means homam. So if you are born into a Brahmin family, and if you have, definitely you would have received the Upanayana, then you have responsibilities. Just by wearing the punul, you cannot become a Brahmin. That's only one ingredient. You have to do Aupasanam, Samita Danam, Surya Namaskaram, and other duties like Hiranya Sraddham. All of these things you must be able to do. To such a person, Adhikaram is given to do Yantra Puja. So why is this? If you perform Yantra Puja, Shastra tells you that she will manifest. And she will come to you. She might not come. Don't expect the Devi to appear in front of you with a nice Kanchipuram sari and 5 or 6 hands and going, "Tata, I'm here." That never happens. That happens in stories. You remember? Daivam Manusha Rupena. The deity will appear in the form of a human being. Sometimes she can appear to you in the form of the most irritating personality, just to see how you are behaving. There are people looking at each other because thinking, you bet. The moment I said, she can be the most, she can appear to be the most irritating personality, people are looking at each other. Is that me? Of course it is you. Okay. So Nitya Yajanam Adhikaram. The Adhikaram is given to you, and please know that this Yantra Puja, just like Sri Vidya, has been a closely guarded secret. They won't let you anywhere near. The Pandits who know this will not let you anywhere near these yantras. And there are things that you must know about this yantra. I talked about the Meru, and underneath it, if you have a yantra Pavishta, the same energy is manifest. If you have just a Meru and you do Tarpanam, it's manifest. Now, in all of these pujas, If you are a Sri Vidya Upasaka, make no mistake, the Murti in the center of the Yantra is the one to whom that Yantra belongs. If it is Sarveshwara, Sarveshwara is in the center. Vanadurga is in the center. Overriding all of these, above that Murti, Mahatripura Sundari is there. So the Sri Yantra is a flow plan of the cosmos. What is without is what is within. If you see and identify something in front as the Tripura Sundari, that same Tripura Sundari is inside you. Bhavana Upanishad will tell you how to map the Sri Yantra into your body. Read it. In that it says, Varahi Pitruruva Kurukulla Bali Devata Mata. Varahi is the form of the Father inside. There are tantric meanings for each of these lines. Cannot be discussed here. And even if it can be discussed, it has to be only between the disciple and the Guru. Nobody else. Because each person, like a thumbprint, like the electromagnetic print in space of each one of you, each one is unique. And that uniqueness will only be translated by the Guru to that particular individual. It cannot be applied to all and sundry. Please remember that. So, I take somebody inside a room and I talk to them, and when the person comes out, you run up to him. What did he say? Stop doing that. Because if it was for you, I would have taken you also into the room. In the latest edition of the Sri Vidya Puja that I originally wrote in 1984 and since has gone through three editions. Where the latest one has a chapter. If you refer to the thing, book is in Telugu too, so you can read. There is a chapter on Sri Vidya Upasaka Dharmam. How should a Sri Vidya Upasaka behave? And in that it is clearly stated. Do not try to find out what mantra somebody else has got, what you have got, and start comparing. You have no idea in which, in which state you are in your sadhana. Little portions of how that is to be discovered have been taken and hijacked by these so-called New Age people, and they advertise and say, we'll teach you how to read auras of people. They have a fleeting idea of what it is, but they have not hit the thing right on the nose. That can come only with practice. Japam, dhyanam, aradhanam, nitya yajanam, adhikaram. So, the Yantra Puja, once it is begun, there are what are called nyasams. If you are doing Sri Yantra Puja, you will be very familiar with Matruka Nyasam, Antar Matruka Nyasam, inside, Bahir Matruka Nyasam, Antar Matruka, Bahir Matruka, Rishi Nyasam, Prabanja Nyasam, Shoda Nyasam, Mahashodasi Nyasam, Mula Mantra Nyasam. So many things are, so many applications are there. What are these nyasams? They are an essential and very important part of the Yantra Puja. For each deity, there is Shatanga Nyasam, 6 places. Hridayaya Namaha, Sirase Swaha, Sikaya Vashate, Kavachaya Hum, Netratrayaya Vaushate, Astraya Vate, 6. Right? And you have to do Anganyasam, Karanyasam. Karanyasam is I am Angushtabhyam, Clean Darjanibhyam, Like this, there are so many nyasams particularly written for that particular deity. If you are doing Varahi Yantra Puja, or nyasams that apply for Varahi, you have to do. And Guruji made this very simple. This is why we love the man so much, because what was kept under strict lock and keys, nobody had any access to them. He just took it and scattered it in the winds. And I asked him, Aiya, aren't you supposed to look at the book? He said, act. My job is to give them, to sow the seed. If it sprouts 600 years from now, I have achieved nothing. What compassion. Just to give you a little anecdote. One day, he was in the Frankfurt airport, waiting for his flight to go to India. He had come home. He had come to Rochester and Toronto and all that. He was on his way. And in the Frankfurt airport, there's a fountain. He was seated on the side of the fountain. And Guruji stopped wearing trousers some time ago, so he was in his Pancharacham. And he was seated. And he saw this guy with a beard walking up and walking down and furtively looking at Guruji, and then walking up and walking down. So, Guruji is a very friendly guy. He said, "Come, my friend, sit down." So the guy came and sat next to him. And he asked him, "I noticed that you are walking up and down looking at me. What is the problem?" He said, "I have been studying yoga for a long time. My only desire is to go to India and meet somebody who can take me on as a disciple and initiate me into the Vidya." So he said, "Oh, you know about the Vidya?" He said, "Yes, I have studied some of these things in my yoga." So he said, "Somehow when I looked at you, I felt that you would have such knowledge." Guruji smiled and took the water from the fountain, from the thing, took it, chanted the Panchasakshari and said, "Here, take it." So initiated him in the airport, frankly. That's how compassionate the man was. When I went to him, I saw him performing the Dasamudras during Lalita Sahasranamam chanting. And when he started to perform the Dasamudras, I knew this person must know something about Sri Vidya. So gently approached him and asked him, and he said, "Yeah, very simply, yeah, I have a guru. I know something about it." I made a note of it and waited patiently a couple of days. I couldn't contain myself anymore. If I miss this chance, who the hell is going to give me any more? Because back home I had bugged many of the temple priests when I saw them do 1 or 2 mudras, and the first question they will ask is, "Are you a Brahmin?" And when you tell them, "No, I'm not a Brahmin, I'm a Kshatriya," they will say, "This is not for you." There was an older gentleman who was a brilliant civil engineer on second-month service to the Energy Corporation in Zambia. His name is Bala Subramaniam. Why I tell you his name is, you will know the connection quickly. So Bala Subramaniam was there. We call him Balu uncle. One day I told him, all my life I have wanted to learn Lalita Sahasranamam. When I was in my early 20s, my first guru, Swami Siva Mataji, who was a direct disciple of Swami Shivananda from the Aiya Dikshadar family. I asked her, "Can you teach me Lalita Sahasranamam?" She said, "You are too young. finish your studies, get married, get a job, have a few children, then come to me, I will teach you. She was already 68, 69 years old, and I'm looking at her and thinking, by the time I finish and come back, all these things, this person will be dead and gone. She looked at me directly and said, "You rascal, I know what you're thinking." Then she told me, even if you are in the middle of a deserted island, if you are in the middle of a desert, now that the mother has put this desire in your mind, somebody will show up and teach you. And exactly that's what happened when I related this story after Friday Puja. Balasubramanian uncle quietly came and said, "Haran, you're much older than I am. My grandfather taught this to me. I can teach it to you." So 1976 on Shivaratri day, we sat and started chanting the Lalitas now. And the first few times it was like I had 15 marbles inside my mouth. My tongue wouldn't move. But we persisted. And this kind of... So when he came home, Guruji did this, so I went to his house and I took Balu uncle with me for safety. Security reasons, in case I got kicked out. Balu uncle discreetly, we knocked on the door, his daughter opened the door and said, "Daddy, somebody is here to see you." He came from the shrine room, he had just finished Navavarana Puja. And he gave Amritam to the two of us, we took the Amritam. And Balu uncle discreetly withdrew into the shrine, into the living room, leaving me alone with Guruji. I asked him, "You said you have a guru and somebody has initiated you into Sri Vidya. Will you take me on as a disciple?" I told him it has been in my family for quite some time, and when my aunt passed away, they gently dropped doing the puja. My grandfather must have been heartbroken. She was only about 16 or 17. So, Guruji said, "Why not?" Now, I'm thinking, because those days I used to do puja with the t-shirt on, he must think I'm a Brahmin. I told him, "Guruji, but I'm not born into a Brahmin family." He looked at me directly and said, "What difference should that make? You want it? I will give it to you." This was the compassion that changed everything. It stood my life on its head after that. Nothing was the same. For me, my wife, my child, everything completely changed. He was a nuclear physicist and he created a minor nuclear explosion in my family. And he said, "Give the mantras to everybody. Let them learn it. If the ladies are there, teach them the Gayatri. Give the Purana Gayatri to them. Let them listen to you and listen." So, this Yantra Puja, the adhikaram, authority to do it, is at least some mantra japam you have to do. Right? And I want to drop another bomb. When Guruji was there, if people came and told him, "Guruji, I am a non-vegetarian, I don't know whether I can give up eating non-vegetarian food, how do but I love this, I want to do this." He would say, "No problem, you take it, I will take care of the rest." Sorry, I am not Guruji. Because if you come to me and say, "I want mantra diksha," one condition is that you must be vegetarian. Not even eggs. Not even eggs in cookies. So get used to reading the labels for the ingredients when you buy something. If it says processed in a factory where eggs and peanuts are processed, don't buy it. Because the connection here in Sri Vidya is that if I give you the mantra and you stop doing it after the newness has worn off, it will affect me. It will affect me and my health. I am not Guruji. Sorry. And Guruji tried to discourage me from asking this question when I performed this Sadabhishekam in India. I told Guruji, Aiya, if you want me to live around for a little more years and serve whatever that I am supposed to be serving, then please don't ask me. Then fine, don't. Okay, so you have to be vegetarian. Not one day a week. Oh, we don't eat on Tuesdays and Fridays. Who cares? You're still eating. It will take at least 7 days if you have a meal for the effects of that meal to be flushed out of your system. So you have to be vegetarian and you have to practice. If you have to do japam, japat dhyana aradhana nityam, every day you have to do. Right? To such a person, the Yantra Puja manifests the deity that is present in that person's body. Navarandra Deham Sri Chakram Sri Guru Sarvakarana Bhuta Shakti. The form of the Guru that gave you the mantra is actually the representative, Pratinidhi, the representative of the Mahatripura Sundari on this planet. And if your mother is a Sri Chakra exponent is somebody, if your mother is performing Sri Chakra Puja, the best person to take the mantra from is your mom. If your mom gives you the mantra, you're already 5 steps up. So the Yantra Puja, Visesharkyam, is the next step that you have to create. Anagaya, show the Visesharkya Patra. And the Mandalam that has to go with the Visesharkyam is this one. Can you focus here? Yes. Idi bindau, idi trikonaka, shakkonaka, vrittaha, chaduratmakam mandalam vilikya. Create this form. How should you draw this? With water from the Samanya Argyam, with Matsya Mudra, like this. Middle finger. Dip it and go Bindu, Trikona, Vrutta or Shatkona. And then you have to worship the Shatkona. With Agnim Dutam Pranimahe Hotaram Vishwavedasam Asya Yakyaksya Paradum Ram Reem Room Raim Raun Raha Ramadavarium Agnimandala Yanamaha. And then there are names for Jum Dum Rakshute Namaha, Ushma Yanamaha, and so on and so forth. So the mandalam has to be first worshipped. That Visesharkya Patram is your body. And like the Shankam, the Visesharkya Patram also cannot move until the end of the puja. If you move it by accident, you have to start again. Right? There are many ways of doing the Sri Yantra Puja. My Parama Guru used to complete Sri Yantra Puja in 20 seconds. He will patiently sit and wash all the vessels meticulously clean. Take 2 hours. And you'll go and sit in front of the yantram and 20 seconds later you'll say, Acha, puja is done. He was an amazing personality. That kind of ability, like GRD tells you, speed will come only with practice. You will keep practicing over and over again, this will come. So today I have given you hints, at least for the people who have received Shorasi, how to do the Navavarana Puja without even lifting a finger. Sitting in one place and doing it in your mind. Visualize the Puja, visualize the placement of each of the Bijaksharas in one location, in each of the locations of the Yantra. By the time you have come to the Vintiskanam, you have completed the Tarpanam for the Puja, for the Yantra. So the Yantra Puja, for people who do not have any initiation, Don't be discouraged. If you come to the temple on June 2nd and for this Navaratri where every yantra will be worshipped one day, each yantra will be worshipped and that day the homam will be for that particular deity. So all 9 days there will be different yantras. If you don't have mantra diksha, come. We will still accommodate you with the laminated yantra and you can do tarpanam or you can do archana with it. Right. So many people, and my hope is that if 200 people appear, 5 people will be interested, then we can take it from there. But you must have that interest. Now, the yantra sthavanam, under any idol, any murti in a temple, there is a yantra pratishta. And that yantra pratishta has to meet several criteria. Okay. Can you get the slide? Okay. The yantra underneath any murti, let us say it is Shadmukha, Subramanya yantra that you have. This is Subramanya yantra. If you notice, 88 deities are there. And only in the Subramanya yantra, the Bindusthanam is to the bottom of the trikonam. Now Subramanya is also called Sadakshara, 6 syllables. Om, Srim, Hrim, Klim, Aim, Saum, Saravanabhavaya Namaha. This was the mantra that Swami Siva Chaitanyananda Mataji gave me when I was a boy. And it's only after it when I went and asked her for the Yantras now, she said, this is not for you now. Now, you will see, before you place the yantra beneath the murti, please know that the murti is alive because of that yantra underneath. All the pujas that are done in a temple, if it is a Shiva temple, 6 times a day you have to do puja. Otherwise you cannot claim to be maintaining an agamic temple. If it is an agamic temple, built according to Agama Shastra, one of the 28 Shivagamas or several of them, 6 times a day you have to do. That means Abhishekam, Alankaram, Arjanam, Aradhanam, Naivedyam. 6 times a day. And in a temple, imagine, in a temple like the Tiruvannamalai temple, there are probably over 100 sannidhis there. It will take an army of priests to do it. By the time you finish one puja, it is time to start the next one. So you have to pull the decorations out and do the Abhishekam and start all over again. How many temples are they doing 6 times puja? To the best of my knowledge in Tamil Nadu, only Chidambaram and Arunachaleshwara. And maybe Ekambareshwara temple in Kanchipuram. So the yantram that is underneath Subramanya, you see the Sadakshara yantra is there. This is only a Lagu version of the yantra. Om, Srim, Hrim, Klim, Aim, Saum, Saravanabhavaya Namaha. Those correspond to the 6 phases of Subramanya. Now you will see, beneath that yantra, now in that, count the syllables. Om, Srim, Hrim, Klim, Aim, Saum, Saravanabhavaya Namaha. Om, Hrim, Mahavilya Namaha. Om, Hrim, Devasenaya Namaha. Om Hrim Mayuravahana Namaha. In Hrim Tahasharpaya Namaha. Om Im Indaya Vajrayudaya Namaha. Om Hrim Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Kulisayadaya Namaha. Om 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 Kukudatwajaya Namaha. Om Hrim Shakti Hastaya Namaha. How many? All these, for each mantra that I have chanted, you have to do 100,000 japa. Now you tell me, how many temples do you know where the Subramania temple, where they have done Akshara Laksham? How many syllables are there in the mantra? Multiplied by 100,000. Otherwise the yantra will not retain life. It's useless. And these fellows who put the yantras underneath, they know it. And they are hoping that while they are doing puja every day, it will get charged. You can only maintain it. You cannot charge it. And that's not the only thing. See, now we have to come. Now I have told you, Akshara Laksham has to be done to the yantra. Right? Now we come to the small print, where the disclaimers are there. Underneath any deity, if the yantra pradishta is there, below that yantra, Gayatri yantram has to be there. Make no mistake, don't forget it. Why Gayatri? Gayatri is Veda Mata. She is the mother of the Vedas, and nothing will exist without the Gayatri. And that too is not Tripada Gayatri Om Bhurvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahityo Yona Prachodayad. Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahityo Yona Prachodayad Parorajase Savato Mapo Jyoti Kasam Pratam Brahma Bhurvaswarom. Akshara Laksham for this yantra also. Aha. So you think building a temple is easy? The yantra underneath Rajarajeswari in Rochester, the late Sagaram is ocean. His name was Vidya Sagar. I forgot his name and I renamed him Prema Sagar because he was an embodiment of affection and love. Those of you who have met him will attest to the fact that this guy was an unusual person. I gave the yantra to him and told him, Sagar Bhaiya, you have to do the japa. He was a Brahmin gentleman from Punjab. It took him 5 years, day and night, 8 hours a day minimum, he would sit and do Panchal Sakshi. By the time, that means 1.5 million, 15 lakhs he had to do. When he had covered 10 or 12 lakhs, he started seeing Devi's Tirumangalyam in front of his eyes, whether his eyes were closed or open. And here was a guy who had terminal cancer. He used to be in and out of the temple even 2 months before his passing away. He was in the temple. Nobody would think that this guy was terminally. Eternal smile on his face, joking with everybody. Such a wonderful person. And needless to say, once he completed his task, the Devi took him. Excuse me. So, Akshara Laksham. Beneath Subramania Yantra is Gayatri Yantra. And guess what? Surprise, surprise. Underneath the Gayatri Yantram, Sri Yantram. Whether it is a Mahavishnu temple or whether it is Balaji temple or whether it is Ganapati temple or Hanuman temple or Rama temple, beneath that is a Sri Yantram. Raktambodhistapodallata Dharma Saloja Nirula Karachai Pasham Kodandam Ikshutpavamaligunamapyankusham Panchabanan. Who are you describing? The description is Mahatma Prasundari. She is the life force. Anything, any deity, she has to give life. So beneath the Yantra Sthavanam, Sri Yantra Sthavanam is there. Beneath that, Shankha Sthavanam is also there. Shankha Sthavanam, along with the Shankam, there is a particular yantra that needs to go underneath it. It is made out of wood and a particular shape, and japam has to be done to it. Remember, you are installing a deity, and that energy must be kept alive for a minimum of 12 years. And that energy will not be felt by the people, experienced by the people when they come into the temple. The visible portion of the temple is the Mula Murti, the temple. That is where you see the grace coming. You feel the grace coming to you. But that grace begins at the yantra level. It is the yantra that is giving the grace. It's coming out from the deity. Underneath Shankha Sthavanam, Kurva Sthavanam. Kurva is tortoise. 4, 5 or 7 of them will be made. The temple can manage and the temple can afford it. Can be made in gold and can be made. Not at all. Kurma Sthavanam, and underneath the Kurma Sthavanam is the Ratna Sthavanam. Navaratnam, which happens to be my father's name. This Navaratnam, how should it be? There are 4 grades of gemstones. So if you are intent on building a temple, learn all of these things. Otherwise, you will be, at some point or the other, you will miss something. Okay? This is called gem quality stones. These are the ones that ladies and gentlemen with shiny stones that are there. Just don't go and buy. You go to Navaratnam, you go to G.R. Rangamali in Chennai. If you ask them, because this is an old establishment, it's well over 150 years old, they have a name to protect. They won't give you fake stuff. Right? But you have to be smarter than those people. Each of these fellows, the jewelers, have a jeweler's loupe. That's a small magnifying glass that you can take. Ask them to put the stones on the thing and ask them to provide a light. Invariably, all the showcases will have a light underneath it. Put it there and look at it through the loop. The stones should not have occlusions, inclusions, air bubbles, cracks, fissures, nothing, no foreign matter inside. Then it's gem quality. Look at all the 9 stones that you have to buy like this. Then buy it. That Navaratnam will be placed underneath it. Why is the Ratna Sthavanam done in a temple? Why? Remember the sloka I chanted in the beginning? Ganesha Graha Nakshatra Yoginim Ganesha Graha. That Graham, these 9 planets, they are under the direct control of the Devi. 10,000 people coming to the temple. Each one, according to his Jatakam, may have this dosham, Angaraka dosham, Sani dosham, Ashtama Shani, Janma Shani, 7.5 years Shani, Sade Shani. Some dosha will be there. The Devi, by placing the yantram, Sri Yantram underneath, and placing the Navaratnams beneath that, she will control. She will suppress the effect so long as you are in the temple, it's cancelled. That means the Navaratna stones have to be prepared for it. You can't buy it at J.R. Tangamaliga and dump it in the thing. You have to do japa for them. This is the reason many people ask me, why did I include the Graha Pujas in front of the Sri Chakra Puja? This is the reason. You look at them, at least the Navagraha Gayatris have to be chanted. So you see, preparation for an installation of a deity in a temple is not a joke. It is a serious business. Now, Ratna Sthavanam. Beneath the Ratna Sthavanam, there is Devata Sthavanam. What is this? Underneath the Rajarajeswari in Rochester, there are 16 Shivalingams. Those were worshipped by me, first by Guruji and then by me. Those were Prana Lingams. I will come to those, because without learning something you shouldn't leave this place. Prana Lingams. 16 of them. I used to install them around the Sri Yantra Meru that I had in Zambia. And some great soul presented me with an egg dish. A dish where they nicely decorated, brand new. And I counted the depression, they were exactly 16. So I was overjoyed. So I put these lingams in each one of those things. And for each Nitya Kala Devi, chanted the mantra Om. Kameshwari Bhagavani Nitya Tarpanams there. So if a person, if a Yajamanan has been doing puja in his house, he can't be running to his house and running to the temple to do puja. See? So those are taken and placed underneath the puja. Devata Sthapanam. In the Rajarajeswari Temple, underneath the Devi, there is a Swarna Rekha Saligramam. The years that Sri Ganesh used to come and sing with me in the temple while he was still a PhD student in Buffalo, along with him another music nut used to come. You remember it? No? Krishna was one of them. The guy who came from Colin. I can't recall his name. You remember his name? Not Krishna. Anyway, Venkatesh. This Venkatesh came, and one day he was from Kashmir. His parents were living there, so when he came and he told me, I'm going to Kashmir for my vacation, I told him, Tambi, in that area you can get excellent saligrams. See whether you can get one and bring it. And until the day before he was about to leave, he completely forgot that I had asked him this. He had gone to the Parthasarathi temple in Srinagar. And Venkateshwara, of course, as usual, 8-foot high statue. In front of him there was a tray full of saligramams. When he looked at the saligramams, his memory clicked. So when the priest came out to give him tirtham, he said, Swami, my guru has asked me to bring a saligramam. He didn't say, can you give me one of these? He said, where can I get one? He said, wait. Then he went back inside. After 10 minutes he came back and said, he wants to go. So I'll bring the tray out, you pick whatever you want, and take it. Now Venkatesh did not know anything about saligrams. He brought the tray. He closed his eye and lit the Guru Padka and picked one. To see, there was gold namam on one of them. Swarna Rekha saligram. He brought it, gave it to me. And remember that egg tray I told you? In the center, the Nehru is there. In front of him, the brother was there. Saligram was placed. Guruji came from Visakhapatnam to stay with me for a couple of days or a week or so. And he came and looked at this saligram and then said, Haran, what's the matter with you, man? You're adding to the population explosion of this world. I asked him why. He said, that is Sanatana Gopalan, man. Everybody who comes here is going to get pregnant. We realized that 5 or 6 of the ladies who came, after he came to the temple, became pregnant. So he said, put it under the Devi, man. He is a mischief maker. So when the Devi came from Strasbourg to my place, he put it underneath her, and the mischief stopped. That is Devata Stapana. Things like that you have to put underneath. Now, after that, Dravya Stapanam, Dravyam. For people who know how to read Tamil, I don't know whether these books have been translated into English or Telugu or Kannada or Sanskrit even. The original is in Tamil. They are from the Saraswati Mahal, Tanjavur Saraswati Mahal Library. There are 3 volumes. The title is Padartha Guna Vilakam. Padartha Guna Vilakam. And the only people who publish them now are from the Tiruvavadurai Adinam in Tamil Nadu. I don't know where you can get the original in Sanskrit because I haven't tried. I don't read Devanagari, so these books are there. They are there in the library, in the temple. Padartha Gunavalakam. It will tell you what deity, if you have a particular deity, what the herbs and spices that you need to put underneath it. So that is where Dravya Stapanam used to go. Devata Stapanam, Dravya Stapanam. Now the most interesting thing, most important thing is underneath all of these layers, you have to have a few ounces of mercury, rasam. I think in this country and in the United States it's illegal to have it. But you know, one generation ago, you know who used to have free access to mercury? You and I cannot go and buy mercury. Dentists used to have. You can buy the mercury for the amalgam. And so I caught a hold of a few dentists and managed to get 40 ounces of mercury. They are beneath the Devi. What is the purpose of the mercury underneath? It's the only liquid metal known. Specific gravity is 13.5 and is a superconductor of electricity. Rasam. So, Rasastapanam. This information is not for the public. Don't go and tell everybody, Aiya's temple, there are 40 ounces of mercury. Environmental fellows will be down on me like a ton of bricks. So for all of these things, how long it takes for you to prepare the yantra? See, when you install it like that, even a little child walking into the temple, immediately that silence, that deep silence that is behind everything descends on you. You want to just sit, you don't want to do anything. That is the aim. And to maintain that vibration from the yantras, from the yantra sthavanam, dravya sthavanam, devata sthavanam, Sri yantra sthavanam, Gayatri yantra sthavanam, devata yantra sthavanam, Trikala puja at least has to be done. In the morning, Srishti Kramam, creation principle is to be done. In the middle of the day, Sthiti Kramam, maintenance and protection principle of the divine is to be taken care. Saya Kalam, Saya Raksha, Samhara Kramam, reabsorption of this. So in our temple, morning puja is Sri Sukta Vidhanam. What is Sri Sukta Vidhanam? Vidhanam means method. The puja done according to the Sri Suktam. That's all. In the middle of the day, Lalita Sahasranama Krama. If you read the Palashruti of the Lalita Sahasranama, you will understand. I will not go into that because it will become a different workshop. You will understand why the Lalita Sahasranama has to be chanted. And those of you who have had a little bit of awakening inside of you, if you go to the temple, you will immediately discover she is vibrant with life. She is vibrating with life. She wants to get down from there and hug you. And to maintain that, puja has to be done. And puja has to be done by devotees who want to do the puja, not because they are going to get paid for it. Okay? And all the other little things that go to make a perfect puja set and how this is to be offered. A rule of thumb is whether your puja has been successful. After you finish the puja, look at your puja plate. If it is littered with aksharas and petals and remnants of naivedyam and all that, you have failed. She is meticulous. The way she gives her grace to you, you have to return the favor. That means all your sense organs should be focused, your mind should be focused right where you're doing. Remember every little thing that you have put together in that puja. Okay. So this yantra sthavanam, now can you dim the lights and show them the effect of the yantra? And somebody please dim the lights. Okay. Look at the green lines that are there around Subramanya. One screen is blank like that. Okay. Can you at least make this one work? See, in all these, now this is Subramanya from the Peetham. You will see he has 6 faces and sharp points. Kulisaidam, there are 3 sharp points. Right? Vajraidam, there's a sharp point there. And all the weapons that he is carrying, all of them, the terminals are sharp. The mantrottaranam will come and enter the murti through that and penetrate the thing and go straight onto the yantram. See, what he has shown there is the mantra going down. Look at the center line. It goes and hits the bindu. And from the bindu, it is spreading to all the upadevatas, pratinga devatas, parivaram and all that. Then from there, it will penetrate to the Gayatri Yantra. Go to the Sri Yantra Sthavanam. One after the other, each one of them get activated. And by the time Avahanam has been done, the Murti is vibrating. If it is Panchalokam, it is made of Panchalokam, for 12 continuous years, the energy will be there. There's one more thing that needs to be done here, I will come to that. So, once in 12 years, you have to do Punaruddharana Kumbhabhishekam or Jeernodharana Kumbhabhishekam. Punaruddharanam, restoration. The temple walls may have cracked, paint may have peeled, right? The Ashtabandhanam around the deity would have cracked. All those have to be repaired and replaced once in 12 years. Even though it is a Sila Vigraham, that is granite, the energy has to be there. If the Murti is properly made and the Yantra is placed underneath it, every time Srishti Puja, Sthiti Puja, Laya Puja, it will keep, that life will be maintained. In the original days, the kings used to be the Yajamanan of the temple. And depending on the Jatakam of the king, there were expert astrologers in the courts, and they will take the thing and read it, and they will go around selecting the stone, if it is a Sila Vigraham. There are other stones that are used for Murti Pratishta. The most commonly used is marble. Marble is not primary rock. Granite is. You have to get something that has come from the bowels of the earth. Marble is denuded and layer after layer has been imposed on this. That is marble. Marble will not retain the energy for too long. And besides, the standard worship that is prescribed in the Vedas is Patram, Pushpam, Palam, Toyam. Patram is leaves like Bilva or Tulasi. Pushpam, flowers. Patram, Pushpam, Palam. But fruit. Patram, Pushpam, Palam, Toyam, water. So, by saying that water, it means Abhishekam has to be done. If you do Abhishekam to a marble Murti and if you do Panchapal Abhishekam, after 4 years you will find irrigation channel from the Murti. You get eroded. So all these marble Murtis only get dry clean. You will wash it right with the wet cloth. Abhishekam cannot be done. In the north also, all the Murtis were granite until the Muslims entered through the Khyber Pass and slaughtered 17 million Hindus. Do you even know that 17 million Hindus were killed? Nobody even thinks about it. But you see, in the case of the Israelis, they keep putting that 6.5 million in your face every year so that you don't forget. We should do the same. And not only did they destroy our temples and they burnt libraries and did a lot of damage, the second hardest material known to man is granite. First is diamond. With granite, unless you have particular skills, you cannot do a murti properly. Okay? And if you are going to have a particular yantra, if you are going to have a yantra underneath the murti, that means you are serious. Okay? You must choose exactly what is to be placed underneath. If it is a Stri Murtam, female deity, the stone that has to be used also has to be female. So So in stones also there is male, female? Huh? Yes. In granite there is male and female. Abhi Surya Bormo. Sarigama Padani Sariga Sarjamam Rishabam Gantharam. Male stone, like a male's voice, it's Sariga. Ma, neutral stone, equal, male and female. Pa, Dani, like a female's voice, up there. So they will take the chisel and knock on the rock. If it goes ding, then they know it's a female stone. That is how they did it those days. Today, you get a piece of that rock and analyze it. If it is female, it will have 50 to 60% silicon dioxide, SiO2, and the rest of it will be mica, and at least about 15 to 20% ferrous salts, iron salts. Then it is a female stone. The Rajarajeswari Murti that is in the temple is made with a female stone. The stone came from a place called none of these fellows remember what I talked to them about. I would have mentioned this 1,000 times in the temple. A place called Devakotai, 300 kilometers from Chennai. If it is a male stone, Sariga, Sarjamam, Rishabam, Gandharam, male stone, Siva, Subramanya, you have to make it with that. What happens to Ma? It's neither there or here. Madhyamam, that's why it's called Madhyamam, center. Madhyamam, you make a statue like Ardhanarishwara, half male, half female. Anyone from Tamil Nadu here? Nobody is from home, Tamil Nadu. Where is the Ardhanarishwara temple in Tamil Nadu? Do you know? Tiruchengodu. You go to Tiruchengodu, the Ardhanarishwara Murti is made from neutral stone. You can also make Venkateshwara with neutral stone. Why? I can't resist creating trouble like that. Why? Yonischa Vaishnavi Shakti. Yonischa Vaishnavi Shakti. That's not a male. There is cross-dressing there. She is masquerading as a masculine person. Okay? You can make Venkateshwara also with that. Otherwise, there are Saligrama Murtis. What is Saligrama? What is the scientific explanation for Saligrama? Himalayas, as you know them today, is growing at the rate of 3 centimeters every year. So 50,000 years from now, Himalayas will be, you don't know where. 3 million years ago, Himalayas was under the sea. It was called the Sea of Tethys. T-H-E-T-H-Y-S. Sea of Tethys. And south of the Sea of Tethys, there was a continent called Lemuria. North of the Sea of Tethys, there was a continent called Gondwana land. Due to tectonic movements, Lemuria moved against the northern landmass and threw the area that you know as the Himalayas into a series of folds. So they are called fold mountains. And if it is a sea, There will be sea animals there, organisms, Shanku, Chakaram, right? They have become fossilized. The fossilized forms are the sarigramas that you get, and they have different sarigrams underneath, different sarigrams, Sanatana Gopalan, Narasimham, Venugopalan, all of those are there. The one that is under the Devi is Sanatana Gopalan. Now it's very interesting. When I moved Rajarajeswari from Park Circle to 6970 East River Road, naturally we had to take the murti out and take out all these yantras, sthavanams and everything. That Sanatana Gopalan was outside for a total of 12 hours. In that 12 hours, 5 ladies became pregnant. So, if you go to her all the time and pray to her with real faith and real hope, she will give you it. Because Gopala is underneath her. So the yantra sthavana, after the yantrams, after all these yantras are akshara laksha japam. So you can imagine a Madanki yantra with 125 syllables, how long it will take? But you have to, if you are going to have a Meenakshi temple, that's what you have to do. That japam has to be done. If you had been in Rochester for the last Yantra workshop, I told you about Guruji. Guruji's temple, the whole temple is in the form of a Sri Yantra Mahavenu. Devi is 54 feet above ground level. 5.5 ton murti. Of course, he knew that the yantra japam has to be done properly, akshara laksham. That means Panchasakshari was his chosen mantra. You have to do 15 lakhs. Tomorrow is Kumbhabhishekam, today. Tomorrow is Pradishtavanam, today the yantra came. How is physically impossible to do? How will you do the yantra japam, the mantra japam for it? He said, Mother is playing with me. Took it and walked up the hill all the way up to the Shivalayam. Anybody who has been to Devipuram will understand where this is located. That is the highest point on the property. He went up there. And that Shivalayam has a Vimanam in the shape of a Sri Yantra Mahamenu. He sat on there and he said, Amma, only you know why you sent this thing to me only today. I cannot physically finish the japam, doing this japam for you before tomorrow. I will try my best. And he closed his eyes and went on doing Panchasakshari. After about 20 minutes or so, he told me, his eyes gently opened. And from that elevation, he realized he was sitting on the Bindusthanam of a Meru, of a Sri Yantram, and for miles around there was a huge Sri Yantram. See, even now I get goosebumps when I think of it. One, say at least about 2 miles square. And he said on each petal, on each triangle, on each part of the yantra where deities are supposed to be, Rishi and Rishi Patini were seated there, and around them other couples sitting there and doing japam. Within 1 hour, it was done. He said it lasted for about 20 seconds or 20 minutes or so, and it disappeared. So that yantram was taken and placed under the Sahasrakshi. Once the yantra sthavanam has been performed, and you have installed, you are now installing the deity on it, you have to seal it. You have to seal the perimeter of the base of the murti to the base, there it is silver. That one That paste is called Ashtabandhanam. Ashta meaning 8. Bandhanam, to tie. Some of the ingredients, I do not know the English translation for these things. Lingam, Kavi, Sambrani, Panju, Ten Badagu, Chunambu. I can't remember now. See, my memory is going. It's the first thing that starts to go. A few years ago, I wish that you could recall all of these things. Anyway, 8 of these are placed, and ladies will pound them. And Pochunnamurittinave was sung for that purpose, not for a funeral. The Jafta Tamils have reduced the Pochunnam that Manikavasa sang to a funeral. So much so, if you sing it in a temple, what is this? What it needs to be sung in a funeral home is he's singing here in a temple. That's ignorance. It was never written for that purpose. And we are still continuing to make the same mistake. Yes, Silvasanam has to be sung in a Hindu Tamil funeral, but it is not to be sung for this purpose only. Right? So once this paste has been made, is Ashtabandhanam, the mixture that you have to do, wherever water is required, you do not use water. So what can you use? Ripe bananas. Ripe bananas you have to use. If you had been in Rochester for the first time, you would have seen all the things that are mixed, you use the bananas and quickly dry and hold it. And for 12 years it will not budge. Of course, in temperatures like in Rochester, the temperature difference for a year is about 136 degrees. So for that range, it will crack. And you have to keep replacing it, otherwise Abhisheka material that you are using, like milk and curd and all that, will go inside. And soon, it will not be a yantra stavana, it will be a sesti. Okay. So you have to make sure that nothing enters there. And once in 12 years, anyway, you have to take it out and you have to replace it. How long do we have before we break? Huh? Okay. Anybody have any questions up to the point now? Write the questions. They didn't give you a piece of paper, didn't they? They're smart. They want to hold you to the end.
Yes, I can. 5 minutes. Lunch break.
Lunch break?
Yes.
Announcement about the temple.
Any quick question?
Okay, Tamri, what was your question? Give him a mic, please, so that the others can hear what he's asking.
Or you can just come up a little bit. So then come, please come.
Give him a mic.
Hi. So you were mentioning about Aksharamala for the yantras. If you have subsequently maybe multiple murtis and you also need a Sri Rajarajeswari Devi, as you mentioned, can you, in a sort of cheating kind of method, if we should call this, have all the yantras placed and kind of do the Aksharamalas with the Sri Yantra together, or do you have to do it separately?
The information I gave you is for a temple, not for a domestic temple. In a domestic temple, devotees should not exceed your span. In very orthodox family, they will tell you it should not exceed the height of your anguli, thumb. Okay? If they are within this, right, they do not have to conform to any agamic principles. That means you are exempted. You can just have the yantra in your house and do the puja. And slowly it will build up. Okay? These are for temples. And Panchalokam, if there are Panchaloka idols, like in Rochester, people think, they ask me, why haven't you placed granite murtis all over the place? If it is granite murtis, it will be 3, for all 3 times the puja is done, it will be a load on the people who are doing pujas. Many of these are professionals, they come during their lunchtime, they will quickly have a bath, change into puja clothes and go inside, do the puja, and after the puja is done, they are gone. Okay? So the Abhishekam is only done to the Sivalingam, the Mahameru, and Ganapati and the Devi. And the Sila Vigraham, 1 week, Nitya Abhishekam is done to the Mahameru. And the Mahameru that is there is the Visuddhi Chakra of the deity that is there, who is lying in repose. Like that. And the Visuddhi Chakra of the deity is the Mahameru. That is the place where the Jiva Sthiti is. That is where the life force is located. Huh?
What is the difference between a mandala and a yantra?
Some other times, when you have, especially, how do I explain this? Okay, when you have a kolam, a rangoli in front of a house, that is a mandala. Right? If there is a specific deity associated with that yantra, with that mandala, then it becomes a yantra. And in each of the components of this mandala, if there are bija-aksharas and there are deities present, it becomes a yantra.
Why do some mandalas have bindus and some not have bindus? For example, the Vishesharyam and Samadhyaryam.
Because the Samanyaryam, once you put the bindu there, the Tripura Sundari is located there. Only in the Vishesharyam, the bindu is allowed because the Devi comes and sits on the bindu. Maithura Mandana Maharaho Yaga Yogeshwari Sri Suravarshani Divya Purusharanam. And in the Vishesharyam, there is Agni Mandalam, the base, then Surya Mandalam, and Soma Mandalam, then what? When you are doing puja, remember what you are saying? Srishti Pradata Sakalatmane Brahma Mandalaya Namaha, Sthiti Pradata Sakalatmane Vishnu Mandalaya Namaha, Laya Pradata Sakalatmane Rudra Mandalaya Namaha, Tirodana Pradat Chaturkalatmane Ishwara Mandalaya Namaha, Anugraha Pradat Shodasakalatmane Soma Mandalaya Namaha, Sadasiva Mandalaya Namaha. Then you install Shiva, you install Brahma, you install the Devi, and all these things. So that is Visesha Argyam is a special Argyam. That is why it is called Visesha, special Argyam, Amritam. And what does that Amritam represent? The Amritam that is represented there is the Amrita Kara that forms in the Sahasra Kamalam when the Kundalini had come and united with her Lord. That's the one. And there are people who practice this when she hits the roof of the head, they feel a cold shower going down their back and all organs, the body. Cool shower, you will immediately feel. When that comes, if you look at somebody and say, May God bless you to come to us. This is the reason why Sri Vidya is not given to all and sundry. If you are not controlled your passions and you get uncontrollably angry, it's not for you. Aiya, can we take a break and have something to eat?
Yeah, we have more questions. We will take them at the end of the Q&A session.